Hello all, I am Dr. Gauri Abhyankar, working as an assistant professor in Abasaheb Garware College, Pune. In this session, we would be studying Golgi apparatus in plant cells. We will confine our study to structure and functions of the organelle. These Golgi apparatus are seen as stack of sacs, or you can say that they appear like a pile of bags. Now every stack consists of 3 to 10 sacs individually. These sacs are called as cisternae. Each sac is flattened, closed structure, and also it is bound by membrane. This stack of Golgi or the stack of sacs is also known as dictyosome. Every plant cell contains large number of Golgi which are spread out evenly throughout the cytoplasm. Sometimes, depending on the cell structure and cell function, their distribution in cell would be different, but majoritarily they are scattered everywhere in a cell without any specific location for them. These Golgi, besides the stacks, do contain irregular network of tubules and vesicles. Each Golgi shows you distinct functional zones, and each functional zone would contain a specific set of enzymes which is required to carry out specific functions. Now for this session, the learning objectives are: first, to study structure and chemical composition of Golgi. Second, to see the biogenesis or formation of Golgi apparatus. Third, study different models for transport within the Golgi. Then we will see how materials are received in Golgi. And last one is to study the processing of different biomolecules in Golgi. Red arrows in left hand upper corner figure show you many Golgi stacks present in a plant cell. They do not have any definite arrangement but are scattered in the cytoplasm. Golgi apparatus in higher plant cells consists of a large number of separate dictyosomes. Each individual stack of cisternae is called as dictyosome. The bottom figure on left shows you large number of Golgi from wheat seedling roots. Right hand figure shows you Golgi bodies in tobacco leaf epidermal cells. Golgi are seen fluorescent green dots here. In eukaryotes, the Golgi apparatus is divided into 5 parts. First is cis Golgi network, which is present on the forming side of the Golgi apparatus. Second part is cis cisternae. These are cisternae present on the forming side of the Golgi apparatus. Third one is trans cisternae, present on the secreting side of the Golgi apparatus. Fourth part is medial cisternae. These are cisternae that are present between cis and trans cisternae. And last one is trans Golgi network located on trans face. The slide shows you structure of Golgi in tobacco suspension cultured cells. The complete structure of Golgi is stabilized by presence of intercisternal elements. These are fibrous, electron opaque elements observed between trans cisternae of plant Golgi stacks. These protein crosslinks hold cisternae together. The intercisternal elements are shown by arrows in the figure. In plants, the Golgi bodies are physically connected to endoplasmic reticulum surface and they interact with ER through a proteinaceous bridge consisting of COP2 proteins. Left hand side figure shows you association of Golgi with endoplasmic reticulum. The Golgi bodies are seen as red dots within the green network of endoplasmic reticulum. The actin cytoskeleton is very essential in many plant functions like cell development, morphogenesis and establishment and maintenance of polarity. Right hand figure shows association of Golgi with actin filaments. Recent studies have shown that ER network may function as the main reservoir for scar or wave complex and ARP2/3 complex. Activation of these complexes bring about branching and polymerization of actin filaments. Golgi stacks can multiply in two ways. One is through fission of existing stacks. This can be seen in tobacco BY2 cells. Here, cis Golgi cisternae on forming side elongate and undergo fission to form two stacks of dictyosomes. They would separate later and function as two separate Golgi units. Second way of multiplication is by de novo formation from endoplasmic reticulum, which you can see in the photograph of Chlamydomonas cells. As you know now that Golgi can be formed from ER by de novo process in plants. The slide shows proposed model for the early stages of the biogenesis of a Golgi stack from ER. The possible sequence of events is shown here. Stage A is differentiation of exit sites on ER. This is carried out with the help of Sec16, Sec12, SAR1 and probably the cis-Golgi matrix or tethering factors. Stage B shows formation of a COP2 coated bud from surface of endoplasmic reticulum. The bud is attached to ER through the proto-Golgi matrix. The buds grow to form a tubular vascular complex. This can be observed in stage C. The complex contains COP1 buds, vesicles and snares and is surrounded by a matrix. Finally, the complex differentiates into a mini proto-Golgi stack with structural characteristics of both cis and trans phases, including clathrin coated buds. At some stage, Golgi enzymes bound to ER membrane are transferred into this proto-Golgi stack. Upon transfer, they are anchored in the correct cisternae. Classically, there are two models proposed for transport of newly synthesized glycoproteins through Golgi apparatus. Here is the first model known as vesicular shuttle model. The model proposes that cis, medial and trans cisternae are stable structures. All three functional zones have specific enzymes which can be used as markers for distinguishing each zone. This model explains polarity of the stack because it shows three distinct suborganelles. The resident Golgi proteins are retained in the cisternae. The molecules to be transported, maybe you can call them as cargo molecules, move from one cisterna to other via small vesicles. Secretory cargoes travel from one Golgi compartment to the next in anterograde COP1 vesicles and then exit the trans-Golgi network in clathrin coated vesicles or secretory carriers. Presence of large number of COP1 vesicles around the Golgi support the model, but it cannot explain the synthesis and secretion of large molecules like glycoprotein scales in algal cell walls and procollagen in animals. These molecules are much larger to enter the small vesicles. Although the model states that cargo molecules leave one cisterna and physically move to the next one, larger cargoes pass from cis to trans phase of Golgi stack without leaving the cisterna. To address these issues, another model was proposed known as cisternal maturation model. This model considers that Golgi stack is not fixed but is a dynamic structure. Here, cisternae themselves progress through cis, medial and trans phases carrying the cargo molecules. Ultimately, the cisterna itself becomes a large secretory vesicle and fuses with the plasma membrane. Along with anterograde transport, that is from cis to trans cisternae mediated by COP2 vesicles, retrograde transport, which is from trans to cis cisternae facilitated by COP1 vesicles, is also observed in Golgi cisternae. This retrograde transport maintains the spatial distribution of enzymes and functional proteins within the Golgi stack. The model explains transport of large molecules. The retrograde transport of this model can explain presence of a particular resident Golgi protein in multiple Golgi compartments, but another problem arises here. If cisternae are moving, how the functional zones of Golgi are maintained? Recently, a new model called as cisternal progenitor model has been proposed. This can be observed in the slide. The model proposes that different compartments or cisternae are stable in Golgi, but they are able to generate next type of cisternae through fusion of similar cisternae and fission of Golgi cisternae. Both fusion and fission processes are controlled by Rab family GTPases present in Golgi. Rab proteins regulate membrane identity and traffic in plant endomembrane systems. They also link to motor proteins and allow organelle motility. A cell can contain more than 40 different Rab proteins. The ordered recruitment of sequentially acting Rab GTPases is called as Rab cascade. This model explains the transport of large cargoes. Consider a stack of Golgi where each cisterna is marked by a different Rab protein. Rab A is shown in blue circle and the cisterna contains a large glycoprotein for transport. Large glycoprotein present in this Rab A cisterna will move to the medial Golgi as soon as Rab A compartment obtains Rab B, that is shown as green circle. Presence of Rab B would allow the cisterna to fuse with a Rab B medial compartment. Rab A would be removed from the compartment by a Rab B recruited Rab A specific GAP. At this stage, if the model holds true, then the presence and activation of certain Rabs would produce intracisternal chambers. These microchambers would retain specific glycosyl transferases. So, then the cargoes would have gained access to all of the glycosyl transferases that reside at each level of the stack. This is the structure of Rab6 protein and Rab binding domain GCC185. GCC185 is observed as a dimer in green color and Rab6 proteins are seen in blue color. Transport of molecules from ER to Golgi require fusion between the donor and acceptor components. Many different proteins called as tethering factors maintain integrity of Golgi stacks. Golgins are one of them. These Golgins are large proteins with coil domains. They are essential in stacking cisternae and also in vesicle tethering. Carboxy terminal domains like grip and grab of some Golgins are conserved across kingdoms. The GRAP domain binds to ARF1 and helps to form COP1 coated vesicles. The GRIP domain binds to ARL1 located on trans-Golgi network or trans-Golgi. The interaction of these domains is required for binding of Golgins to the Golgi. Golgins are either be directly anchored to the Golgi membrane through carboxy terminal transmembrane domains like giantin, Golgi 94 and CASP, or they can associate with the Golgi membrane through interaction with other Golgi localized proteins. Tethering is a process which occurs before vesicle fusion and comprises of initial attachment of vesicles to target membranes. It is supposed to provide basic level of recognition and specificity to vesicle binding. It also hastens vesicle fusion through snare proteins. In first step, a transport vesicle approaches the target membrane. The movement can be by diffusion or by a motor mediated process. In second step, the transport intermediate or transport vesicle tethers to the target membrane by coiled coil proteins or through multimeric tethering complexes. Tethering can occur at a distance of more than 200 nanometers. Most probably, the tether assembly precedes vesicle budding and so couple vesicle production with targeting to the appropriate target membrane. Third step is pairing of snares. The similar V snare on the transport intermediate and T snares on the target compartment pair to form trans snare complexes. This process is known as docking. In last step, the assembly of snare complexes drives membrane fusion. Transported cargo is either incorporated into the membrane of the target compartment or is released into the lumen. Golgi plays very crucial role in secretory pathway. It directs transport of molecules to and from other organelles through secretory pathway. First step in protein transport is transfer of proteins from ER to Golgi. This anterograde transport is brought about by COP2 vesicles. Retrograde transport moves cargo from Golgi back to ER or other organelles. This transport is mediated by COP1 proteins. Both these pathways are interdependent. If retrograde transport is disturbed or interrupted, it can prevent anterograde transport. COP2 carriers are formed by activation of SAR1. Once SAR1 is activated, it brings about binding of two subcomplexes comprising of Sec23P, Sec24P and Sec13P, Sec31P. The COP2 proteins deform the ER membrane and result in membrane curvature. This curvature is coupled with GTP hydrolysis by SAR1P. In the absence of Sec12P, GTP hydrolysis by SAR1P results in a rapid disassembly of the coat and formation of uncoated vesicles. Alternatively, continued coat-driven membrane protrusion driven by continued Sec12P activity coupled with rapid SAR1 GTPase activity could result in the formation of a tubular structure that is not coated with COP2 at its apex. This can be seen as structure F. Either vesicle or tubule formation provides precursors for VTC formation based either on tethering or fusion. The Golgi apparatus is the site for many different types of glycosylation reactions. Many of these reactions occur simultaneously in the same Golgi stack. The glycosylations and glycan biosynthesis is brought about by a large and very important group of enzymes called as glycosyl transferases. These enzymes synthesize different cell wall glycans except cellulose in the Golgi with the help of certain modifying enzymes, nucleotide sugar conversion enzymes and transporters. Newly synthesized secretory cargoes exit from ER and enter cis Golgi. During transport from cis to trans Golgi, many enzymes like glycosidases and glycosyl transferases act on the cargo molecules. In addition to these enzymes, processing requires import of nucleotide sugar substrates into the Golgi and export of inorganic phosphates from Golgi to the cytoplasm. In all eukaryotes, N-glycosylation of proteins starts in ER. It is very important in protein folding and quality control in ER. Further, in Golgi, Golgi alpha mannose 1, that is GM1, process N-linked glycans to mannose 5 N-acetyl glucosamine. This trimming is the first committed step in Golgi N-glycan processing pathway, and it is very much required for subsequent N-glycan modifications. Processing within the Golgi requires many enzymes, namely N-acetyl glucosamanyl transferase 1, Golgi alpha mannosidase 2, N-acetyl glucosamanyl transferase 2, beta 1,2 xylosyl transferase and core alpha 1,3 fucosyl transferase. So let us summarize what we have studied in this session. We started with the ultrastructure of Golgi and its composition. Then we have seen two different pathways for formation of Golgi or for biogenesis of Golgi. Then we have discussed about three different models which are used or which are proposed for membrane transport across Golgi. These are vesicular shuttle model, cisternal maturation model and cisternal progenitor model. Now each of these models are individually of use, but they together would give you better results, or they are not mutually exclusive. After the models, we have also seen membrane tethering and various tethering complexes like Golgins which are required in the process of membrane transport. Then after tethering, we have also seen vesicle formation and fusion of vesicles, and at the end or finally we have seen N-glycan processing pathways in Golgi.